Hey guys, this is Ben. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the new set. I got a table, I got a microphone. We're professional now. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this set turned out. It was a lot of fun putting it together. And yeah, now it's time to film a bunch of videos here. But as for today, we're gonna be talking about some Oscar predictions because it is now officially 2024 Oscar season. So today I'm going to be giving you my extremely early 2024 Oscar predictions. Just Best Picture for today. I'm going to have another video coming out later this week where I talk about the other above the line categories and my predictions in those categories. But for today, we're just talking Best Picture, breaking down all of the possible contenders. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of contenders that we're not expecting that are going to come out of nowhere. There's going to be some contenders that seem like they're locks, but then are going to disappoint. But it's still fun to make these predictions anyways. So yeah, a lot of these, again, are based off of the people involved in these projects, their past success at the Oscars. Some of these films have premiered at Sundance and Cannes, so we can get a little bit of a feel for how these films are going to do come award season from that. All right, let's get into it with number one. And my number one is Past Lives. This is an A24 movie that premiered at Sundance back in January. This one I have at the top of the list because it's the film with the most positive buzz thus far. It's also a film that we know is good. Obviously, majority of these movies haven't been released, so we have no clue how well received they're going to be. But this is a film with like a 95% on Metacritic. It's getting incredible, glowing reviews, and it feels like the type of movie that could win Best Picture at the end of the day. It's not from a big name, and we've seen that time and time again, that the Best Picture winner is often not from the big name. It's not from the Martin Scorsese, the Steven Spielberg. It's often a movie like this. A smaller film that kind of comes out of nowhere, but gets a lot of attention from some new talent. It kind of has all the pieces. So we'll see. For now, I have it at number one. At number two, I have Dune Chapter 2. I feel like this film could be like a Lord of the Rings Return of the King, where the first two Lord of the Rings movies were getting a ton of nominations and a ton of recognition from the Academy, but it wasn't until the third film, the final chapter, that it like swept all of the categories and won Best Picture, Best Director. If this is kind of marketed as the final chapter, the end of Dune, then maybe they're going to want to recognize that and give it its due, give it that Best Picture win. The first Dune movie won like 6 or 7 Oscars a year or two back, and that was the most amount of Oscars won that year. So clearly the Academy really likes what Denis Villeneuve is doing with Dune and the story he's telling there. I honestly think if this movie is on par with the original, if not better, it could win Best Picture because the Academy could, once again, give it all of those technical category wins, but then also give Denis that Best Director nod and award Best Picture. I think it could happen. Again, though, I think this would have to be definitively like the end of Dune. And if it is the end of Dune, they should lean into that. 3, I got Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a pretty obvious one that's on everybody's list. This has been getting some amazing reviews coming out of Cannes. It's a new Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Jesse Plemons, Brendan Fraser. Come on. It does kind of feel like An Irishman. Again, like this feels like a film that's going to get a ton of nominations, but not win anything, especially because out of Cannes, it is getting incredible reviews, but nobody's saying like this is Scorsese's best movie or anything like that. And it feels very reminiscent of The Irishman in that way. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to get nominated. I think it's going to get a ton of nominations in a bunch of different tech categories. It's going to get multiple acting nominations. Martin Scorsese is probably going to get a Best Director nom, but it's not going to win Best Picture. That's kind of what I'm feeling. 4, I got Christopher Nolan's new movie, Oppenheimer. The trailers for this movie have looked incredible. Everything we've seen from this looks like a Christopher Nolan Oscar contender. It looks like another Dunkirk in that it's much more grounded. It's a more character-focused story, not a big epic action sci-fi movie. It's much more focused. It's a drama. It's all about this character, what he's going through, the moral dilemmas he's facing. So in that way, I feel like it appeals to Academy voters a lot more. I think Cillian Murphy could be a big Best Actor contender, which really helps this film as well. The cinematography looks incredible. It's going to be super well directed. All the performances are going to be fantastic. this is going to get a nomination. I would be shocked if this film isn't great and if it doesn't get a ton of nominations. I think if this movie is fantastic, if Cillian Murphy emerges as the best actor frontrunner, and this movie has a lot to say and it feels very relevant and very impactful, it could win Best Picture. It could be the Christopher Nolan movie to win Best Picture. I don't think that's crazy. I think that could definitely happen. This feels like the type of movie that could do it. Number 5, I got The Color Purple, which I know a lot of people have at like number 1 or 2. I don't feel that strongly about it yet. The trailer was very good, very well made, has incredible production design, costumes. The performances look great as well. And I'm sure it's going to be a great movie. It is a remake of a remake, though. It was originally a book, I believe, and then a movie, and then a Broadway show, and now a movie of the Broadway show. That's a lot of adapting, and I don't know if the Academy is going to fully go for that. This is a big Warner Brothers movie as well, so it's going to be pushed hard. It's coming out around Christmas time, which is prime Oscar season. So yeah, I think this one could be a big contender. I think that there's a lot of potential in some of the acting categories. I just need to see a little more from it. I need to see another trailer before I put it any higher on the list. 6, I got The Holdovers, which is the new movie from, Alexander Payne. He did Sideways. He did Nebraska, The Descendants. This is his new movie, and the word behind the scenes is that it's like a pretty crowd-pleasing, charming movie that audiences will really like. Footage played for this movie back at CinemaCon a month ago as well, and the same sentiment that it's going to be very charming, crowd-pleasing, looks like an Oscar contender, probably going to do the festival rounds as well, hit Venice, hit TIFF, hit New York. Yeah, I think this one could be that crowd-pleasing film that gets in the Green Book of the year, or the, I don't know, what's another good comparison? King Richard? I guess that's a sports movie. 7, I got Poor Things. The trailer for this movie looks wild. It looks insane. It looks like Yorgos Lanthimos mixed with Tim Burton. The production design is just, it's crazy. Visually, this movie is so unique and so different, and I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be crazy. So I don't know. This one's very tough. I debated putting this in my 10 at all because it's so weird and different. But the Oscars will go for weird and different. They just gave Everything Everywhere All at Once a Best Picture win. So if the movie's good, which I've heard some buzz from test screenings that it is very good, then I don't see why this film couldn't be nominated for Best Picture. You got Emma Stone as the lead. You got Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe. You know, Emma Stone could get a nomination. Mark Ruffalo could get a nom. Obviously, production design, cinematography could all get nominated as well. I think this could put together a nice little package for itself and then eventually get that Best Picture nomination. It's a little risky, though, because it is so weird. 8, I got Air. For the longest time, I really didn't believe this was going to get a nomination. A lot of people had it in their 10, and I just held off because I didn't feel it. But it's kind of undeniable right now, especially when we don't know how a bunch of these other films are going to be received. It did well at the box office for, considering what type of film it is. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. It's one of those crowd-pleasing sports movies that just gets in. You also got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck behind this one, and I feel like the Academy is going to love that narrative of kind of like their comeback, even though they did do The Last Duel a couple of years ago. It's Ben Affleck's big return at directing as well. I have it in my 10 for now, but I have it a little bit lower because I still don't fully believe it, and I think if a number of other contenders emerge, this one could just be forgotten. 9, I got The Zone of Interest, which was getting like rave reviews out of Cannes. A lot of people were just buzzing about this movie. It holds a very high 90-something on Metacritic right now. This is Jonathan Glazer's newest film. He did Under the Skin. I believe this is another A24 movie, and from everything we've heard, this feels like the international movie out of Cannes that could get a Best Picture nom. Next, I got Blitz, which is Steve McQueen's newest movie. I would have this one much higher if it weren't for the fact that we don't know if this movie is even coming out this year. It's a bit of a gamble putting this on here because it very well might not come out. It just wrapped filming pretty recently. Still, a couple people behind the scenes have said that they're aiming for this to be a 2023 release. I think it could slip in at the end of the year, be a late December release to make the 2024 awards season. And if I'm predicting that it comes out this year, I'm going to predict it for Best Picture because this is Steve McQueen. It's Saoirse Ronan. I don't really need to hear anything else. It's being released by Apple, and they'll definitely give it a big push. Just look at what they did with Coda a couple of years ago. It's a historical drama following the stories of a group of Londoners during the events of the British Capitol bombing in World War II. So that sounds like an Oscar contender to me. 11, I got Barbie. I don't know, man. A lot of people have this in their 10. A lot of people really think that Barbie could happen. I want it to happen. I think that would be awesome. There is a lot of buzz behind this movie. There's a lot of people super excited for this movie. This movie has really entered into the pop culture zeitgeist. And I think it could do very, very, very well at the box office, which could help its chances as well. But I don't know. It's really hard to bet on a Barbie movie for Best Picture, especially after seeing the trailers. They are, very lighthearted and fun and funny. It's very much a comedy. This is not the type of movie the Oscars would nominate ever. Like, I would never usually predict a movie like this to be nominated for the Oscars. The only reason it's as high as it is because you got Noah Baumbach, you got Greta Gerwig behind this one, and the Oscars love them. It's much more than just a Barbie movie, obviously. This movie is a commentary on our world today in a lot of different ways. If this gets nominated, that would be crazy. That would be amazing. As of yet, I don't believe it. Once we get reviews for this movie, if the reviews are glowing, then I'll put it in my 10. Next, I got Saltburn. This is Emerald Fennell's newest movie. Her last movie was Promising Young Woman. You got Barry Keoghan and Carey Mulligan in here as the leads, I believe. The word from the test screenings is that this is a very solid movie, that Barry Keoghan gives a awards-worthy performance. The IMDb description for this movie is just, it follows an aristocratic English family. That's all it says. I don't really know what this movie is about. There's not much info on it. I'm simply going off the fact that it's Emerald Fennell, it's Barry Keoghan, Rosamund Pike's in there, Carey Mulligan, and the test screenings have been positive. Next, I got Maestro, which is Bradley Cooper's sophomore directorial film. He's also starring in this movie alongside Carey Mulligan once again. This film follows the complex relationship between Leonard and Felicia from the time they met in 1946 at a party and continuing through the two's engagement, a 25-year marriage, and 3 children. So obviously this movie spans a big period of time. You're going to see Bradley Cooper give an incredible performance. He's in heavy makeup throughout the whole thing. It's being released by Netflix. You got Bradley Cooper coming off of A Star is Born. The pieces are all there for this to be a major contender. But it's a little bit lower because there's been multiple test screenings, and a new batch of reactions from a test screening just came out a couple days ago, and they're mixed. A lot of people saying that the film is quite messy. It's all over the place. It's not accessible to mainstream audiences. It's very dialogue driven. So I don't know. This could be a situation where audiences and these test screen audiences don't love the movie, but the Academy loves it. The mixed reactions have me a bit doubting this one. All right, new day, but we're back. Let's keep talking. And then next I got, okay, this is a bit crazy. And I know you might think I'm crazy for having it this high, but I got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now let me explain. The first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out at the end of the award season. It came out in December, and it did manage to break through and win Best Animated Feature. But I honestly think that Academy voters, if you were to go back to them now and say, okay, would you nominate now Into the Spider-Verse for Best Picture if you had the choice? I think a lot of them would. I think a lot of them would say that now, with time, having seen what a phenomenon this film has been, how revolutionary it's been, how much it's changed the game. This movie changed the game when it comes to animation and what's possible in the medium. It was the biggest step forward in animation since the introduction of 3D animation. So for that reason alone, it was worthy of a Best Picture nomination. And the reviews coming out of this one are insane. People are saying this film was better than the first. Like, across the board, people are saying this is better than the first. They're saying, once again, it's an incredible step forward in animation and what's possible, but it tells an incredible story. I don't know, man. If it's that good, if it's that revolutionary, once again. Now, obviously, it has the fact that it's a comic book movie, it's a Spider-Man movie, it's an animated movie. That holds this film back a lot, and that makes it really hard for it to get in. Maybe, though, that since this is the part one, like this is very much a part one, and that's some people's main criticism with the movie. they'll wait till Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. If that film manages to stick the landing, cement this trilogy as one of the best animated trilogies of all time, maybe they'll give that film the Best Picture nomination. I don't know, but I think it could happen, so I'm putting it up there. Next, I got Asteroid City. This is the newest Wes Anderson movie. At this point, I think it's going to take a lot for a new Wes Anderson movie to break into Best Picture. After Grand Budapest Hotel, it was like the Oscars were like, okay, we're going to recognize you for this movie. This is your crowning achievement. But now you can go back and keep doing what you were doing. Keep doing your thing. They never recognized him before that movie, and they haven't really since. So I think it's going to take a lot. I think it's going to need to be his best movie, a movie better than Grand Budapest Hotel, to get into Best Picture. And the reviews out of Cannes, while very positive, are not on that level. So I don't feel like this is going to be the one to break through. But it has been getting pretty solid reviews. Some people saying it's, one of Wes Anderson's best movies, and it does have a stacked cast. So it's up there. And next I got The Killer. This is David Fincher's newest movie. This is kind of going back to his roots. It's a serial killery movie. It's a crime movie, kind of like Seven and Zodiac, and less like his Oscar movies, Mank, Benjamin Button, and Social Network. So that's why it's a bit lower. But the Academy does really like David Fincher. There has been some buzz coming out of this movie saying it's a lot more artsy than you might think. It's a Netflix movie, and they're going to push it hard. I think it could happen. I need to see a trailer. I need to see if it's going to be hitting the festivals before I put it any higher. 19 got May December. This premiered at Cannes. It got good reviews, but from everything I've seen, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be an Oscar thing. So I lowered it down my list quite a bit. And then I got Taika Waititi's newest movie, Next Goal Wins. I don't think this is going to be like another Jojo Rabbit. This film was delayed for like years and years. It's been on my list for multiple years, and it's finally coming out now, but that doesn't make me feel like the studio has much confidence in it. It also feels pretty familiar and derivative. A lot of people are saying it looks just like Ted Lasso, and it kind of does. This just feels like a pretty standard underdog, crowd-pleasing sports movie, and we've seen that type of movie before, so I don't know why this would get any recognition from the Academy. Challengers at 21, Luca Guadagnino's newest movie. His last movie, Bones and All, was not an Academy thing. I don't know if this one will be. You do got Zendaya on there, though, with Mike Feist and John Connor. Is that his name? It's like a love triangle tennis sports movie. But again, I don't know if it's going to be the Academy's thing. Napoleon. This is Ridley Scott's newest movie. Will this be another Gladiator? Like, that's the best case scenario for this movie. It's another incredible, grand epic with a great performance by Joaquin Phoenix. And it manages to get in off of its text and off of, Joaquin Phoenix getting in. But Ridley Scott's very hit and miss these days, and the test screenings haven't went great, so I have it pretty low. Rustin, I feel like it's going to be more of a performance showcase rather than a Best Picture contender. Colman Domingo could easily get a Best Actor nomination, but I don't know if this is going to be a Best Picture thing. Bob Marley, One Love. This is by the director of King Richard. So maybe this one should be a bit higher. It's another biopic, and obviously it's by an iconic figure, Bob Marley. So I think Kingsley Ben-Adir could definitely get a Best Actor nomination. I think that's likely. I think a biopic nowadays has to really stand out to get in for Best Picture. Elvis really stood out. It was really stylish. It was a big box office hit. Austin Butler gave an incredible performance, so that managed to get in. Same kind of deal with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a tall order to expect this one to be able to get in as well beyond just Best Actor. But again, the Academy loves those transformative performances, so I think Kingsley Ben-Adir could definitely get a Best Actor nom, which I'll talk about later this week. How Do You Live? This is Hayao Miyazaki's final film. He's coming out of retirement to do this film. But, Studio Ghibli hasn't ever got a Best Picture nomination. They often miss getting nominated for Best Animated Feature. So it's a tall order to expect this to get nominated for Best Picture. But it's on my list just because this is his final film. And obviously, he has a ton of respect. He has such an incredible filmography, and he's had such an incredible career with Studio Ghibli that if it's a masterpiece, if it's an incredible film, one of Studio Ghibli's best, maybe they'll give it recognition. But I think that's a tall order. Ferrari, Michael Mann's newest movie. Seems like it can be more of an action, fun movie starring Adam Driver. But, it's Michael Mann, so it's up there. Pain Hustlers. This is a new David Yates movie, and David Yates is a blockbuster filmmaker. He did the Harry Potter movies and some other big blockbusters. So I don't know if this is going to be an Oscar thing at all, but, the story of it being like a crime conspiracy thing sounds pretty interesting. You got Emily Blunt, Chris Evans in there. I feel like it's going to be more of a mainstream blockbuster rather than an Oscar thing, but you never know. You never know. So I'm putting it up there just in case. Priscilla, the newest Elvis movie. After Elvis last year, I think it's going to take a lot for another Elvis movie to get a ton of recognition from the Academy. But this is Sofia Coppola, so it's there. And finally, The Iron Claw. This is a new Sean Durkin movie. I believe that's his name. Starring Zac Efron. It's about a real-life twin brothers who are wrestlers. I don't know. His movies aren't usually the Academy's thing, but maybe this one is. Maybe Zac Efron gives an incredible performance. Who knows? All right, that's it. That is my list of all the movies that I think are possible contenders for Best Picture. There's probably some movies I missed. There's probably some glowing omissions from this list. So let me know what those are down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my list? And do you think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse could get a Best Picture nomination? Do you think it is possible? Do you think Barbie will get a Best Picture nomination? I don't know about that one. I'm on edge about that one. There's a lot of incredible movies coming up, a lot of high-profile movies coming. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very exciting. I'm super excited for this award season, and I will be updating this list every month as we progress into the award season, as some of these movies premiere, as we hear more about possible other contenders. Like I said, another prediction video with all the above the line categories is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out. It's free, and it means a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.